It's time for Trial to Track. Group 1 racing is back. The Winx Stakes. Plenty of horses first up, coming off good trials. The Spring Stars are back, and the star of the show is back. Glenn Ingram, how are you, mate?
Turn it up, please. Tom, I'm going well, thank you. Great to be with you and the punters, the viewers, the Trial File followers tuning in this week. We've had a pretty good week, I think, overall. We had a dirty day today, Seymour. But you get that?
Yeah, unfortunately, first race, Petite Manhattan, the Falter, Le Danses Rouge, we touched on in the wrong part of the track, Glenn. Every race in Seymour has been off fence. Yeah. I've gone and looked at the stewards' footage, and it's a bit disappointing first use of the track with the jockey sticking to the fence, and every runner since has been off fence. But anyway, we digress. A bit disappointed with Wednesday. We had Bravery, who I tipped, and we tipped, pulled up with issues, too bad to be true, well supported. You get 260, probably 250 after scratchings, and starts at $1.75, and you run last. It's a sick game at times, Glenn. We're due for a bit of luck.
Brutal, yep. So you're having SP for dinner. That's all you can eat. Eternal Flame was a really good result. We've been talking about that horse a fair bit. Had the 3 jump outs at Cranbourne. Just looked really wound up. And Mick Kent, he's got another one going well, which we'll touch on later in the show.
Ooh, look forward to that. We've got plenty of horses to touch on, plenty of races to touch on. As I said, Group 1 racing at Randwick. We've got Caulfield, plenty of black type racing at Caulfield, and we finish off with the benchmark 100 there as well at Caulfield. What a day. I've ever got one for Taree on Friday, so stick around. Hopefully this gets published on Thursday night. Plenty of time. Ooh. Stick around. We'll find one at Taree. Awful race. But on Friday, hopefully we can find one and see how we go, mates. Let's start at Randwick. Why not?
Yep. Let's do it.
A horse that was scratched last week. James McDonald was nominated and riding 2 runners, Extremely Lucky and Alentia. And Alentia was meant to come out. Waller even said it would come out. And then ends up Extremely Lucky, gets scratched, and Alentia comes out and wins and brains them. No Alentia here, Glenn. No speed on paper. Race 5, the Show County Quality. No speed at all on paper. You called it, might work forward. Fender can kick up. I hope they go slowly because I think the best turn of foot wins this race, and that is Extremely Lucky. Trialled the house down for Chris Waller, new stables, and going to be mighty hard to beat. I'm happy to take that $3.30, Glenn. Not a bad race. Buenos Noches, a horse you know well's in there, conceding weight to a lot of others. Trialled quite nicely. Colino off a win. Chris Waller's second up's not great. So I really think...
Car on though, Tom. Positive?
Yes. Yep, probably. Interesting jockey changes. McAvoy actually rode Extremely Lucky in a barrier trial, Glenn, and now sticks. So I think he might have had the choice to stay on Extremely Lucky with the 53 kilos. Car back riding. Good luck to her. Hope she goes well on Colino, but hopefully we can start the day. We'll start our selections at Randwick with a win there. Extremely Lucky.
Bit of consensus that J-Mac's not at his best at the moment, Tom. Is that a fair call?
Yes, probably. Midweeks hasn't been good for 12 months, Glenn. He's often, not good, but he's often overbet midweeks, and his profit on turnover is not great midweeks. He probably doesn't need to try as hard at midweek either. We all know he's a star. He's got nothing to prove. So we saw that with Bowman after Winx, just go through that low and go through the motions a little bit. He probably does that a little bit, but mixed bag last Saturday, Glenn.
All right, let's have a look at race 7, the Laurel Oak Toy Show Quality, Tom. 1100 metres.
Giving the sponsors a plug, Glenn. I like that.
Oh, you did? You put it in the race sheet.
No recommended bet here is really good race for the fillies and mares, Glenn. Found it pretty tough. Queen of the Ball, Parasol, Zoo Gotcha, they all map awkwardly. Queen of the Ball draws well, but maps awkwardly in the sense that there's so much speed on paper here. I think she's a better horse ridden on a slower tempo, and I just worry about her first up off a fast tempo, whether she can sustain that. Jamie Carr on. Parasol's an interesting horse. Got Jean Van Overmeer on as well, which is you don't see very often for Godolphin in the city. So that's an interesting one. Zugotcha's conceding weight first up. Very awkward barrier. I don't like any of them. Really good race. Queen of the Bull comes off a trial beating Nature Strip Glen. It was a lovely piece of work. If you like Queen of the Bull, I couldn't talk you out of her. I was worried about the pressure she's got to absorb. And Zugotcha's a class horse, but has to concede weight. If they don't beat Zugotcha, none of these will be beating Zugotcha again this campaign, that's for sure. So, not a huge. I could even make a case for number 10, Petulant at $70, $65 Glen. A filly in form, racing well, got race fitness and maps well. So, really tricky map, the Toy Show.
All right, the feature on the card, the Group 1 Winx Stakes. Shouldn't be a Group 1, it says here.
That's right. It shouldn't be a Group 1. It shouldn't be a Group 1. 8 out of 19 first up. It's a lead up. Shouldn't be a Group 1, mate. Do you think it should be a Group 1?
I don't even know the race. I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Is it in Sydney?
It's the Winx Stakes, mate.
Winx Stakes. Yeah, right.
It's a great race and really exciting field. Waller with 8. Shouldn't be a Group 1, though, to lead up to main events. I don't think lead up should be Group 1s. I'd love to see less Group 1 racing and the Group 1s be the big pinnacles and feature races. But anyway, I'm with Lindemann. This horse was $6 pre-post leading into this race through the markets. Well supported after a fantastic barrier trial, Lindemann. And then he comes up and draws 18 and gets pushed out to $18 or $19. Couple of lessons. Don't bet early. Early futures bettings and pre-post bettings gone at the moment. You get absolutely no value. So $6 on Wednesday morning, field comes out and it goes to 19s just because it draws barrier 18. That barrier will come in, Glenn, and I think the barrier's not. It's a negative, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because it forces the hand of Hugh Bowman here. I reckon he might have to go forward. You'll get a good idea from the betting and the stable if you hear anything throughout the week. But if they're here to win, this horse will lead and give a great sight, can work across from barrier 18. Don't mind that at all, and it signals intent. Now, intent is crucial in these races. They lead up races for other mile races and 2,000-metre races, and Lindemann comes here $18 off a brilliant trial, good form. No reason to jump off if you liked him, and I'm happy to be with him each way, $19 or $18. It's a great race. Fangirl, I think, is a winning chance. I just think she's under the odds. She gets McDonald on. That's why she's well found. She keeps bumping into Animo. There's no Animos here, but slight concern, wet track, and I just want to see her do it again. It will be on a soft 5, soft 6, I think. She's better on a good 4, but she just eternal bridesmaid at the moment. She hasn't won in 8 starts, and I just want to see her with some killer instinct before I dive in as favourite in a Group 1. Concede Zaki trialling okay without being brilliant. Got to be in the mix. Ran second behind Giga Kick in a Group 1 all age when we last saw him first up 1,400 metres. And then Think It Over, been off the scene for some time. I loved his barrier trial, Glenn. I wouldn't be surprised if he's here and raring to go. I give him a winning chance. So Lindemann on top each way, over the odds, good price, and I'll be having Zaki and Think It Over in multiples and in the quaddie there, mate.
All right, we'll get to race 9, the Darley Silver Shadow Stakes, 1,200 metres, and you're going to come home with a Tommy 2 play, or is there another race? No, that's it.
No, that'll do. Yeah, Estrella, a horse that I've got a lot of time for. She ran into Caballas last start, Glenn, and Caballas knocked me off there when we back shaking and saved Estrella, and then Caballas won there and then ran into trouble. Now, last weekend's best bet of the day, Caballas, paraded awful. Just follow this horse. Paraded awful. Got the yard through and nowhere near as good as last start. Had bad luck for the barriers, squeezed out of the barriers. The horse that jumped either side squeezed it and was a length further back than expected. And then ran into trouble, only got clear late. To go down like that was absolutely disgusting. I think Estrella can back up that form. I think this is a nice filly. I think she'll be hard to beat. And the other one, Mumbai Muse. Keep an eye on this. I'll be having something each way. Small, 1/3 or 0.5 by 1.5 here. Glenn, something to win, triple the place. Loved her trial the other day. She beat Master Crusader in that trial, who ran third and was average, to say the least. But I love the trial. I think she's a nice filly. I think she's made a lot of progression as a 3-year-old now, and she'll be right in the mix. So race 9 there, number 15 to go with number 11, Estrella.
Okay, that's a good little summary there at Sydney, but we'll come back to you with your thoughts on where we've got a tip Friday. We'll do that. We'll wrap it up with that.
We'll finish with that, mate. Yep.
Caulfield, mate, we're going to be on a soft track, I think, at Caulfield, Tom. There's a little bit of rain about at the moment, and there's some good horses coming back, and we've just got an absolute chasm in this country of good horses. I was going to say, something else. Then there is stuff all, Tom.
Chasm, good word. He's one of my favourite horses, Chasm. I don't know if you remember the horse.
Chasm.
Black silks with a white logo on it.
Right. Okay. Well, there's no good horses. That's what I'm trying to say. In English, we're going to kick off in race 2. There's a horse first up for Peter Moody that I think is going pretty well. It's called Life Lessons. Number 1 here anyway. Top weight. Looks really well placed against the fillies and mares. One impressive jump out at Pakenham on the poly track. Peter Moody normally gives these horses 2 trials and jump outs, but not this mare. She just has the 1. So likes to keep the freshness in her legs. She only got 2 runs last campaign. She was okay. She carried covered a bit of ground first up at Flemington, and then had another run and was tipped out. But I think she's come back better, judging by that jump out. And sorry, I've just lost my screen there.
Yeah, right,
and if she can settle a little bit closer, I think it's a big job for Carleen Heffel. Starlight Scope's the natural leader, is going to go forward. It's a bit of a tricky map. If she doesn't go forward, she could get posted here, and that's not what you want to be, 1,400 at Caulfield. So if Carleen's forward in the run, might be one of those bet in play jobs, Tom. But looks very hard to beat first up.
Race 2, number 1 there, Life Lessons. Now, before we touch on some black type races, Glenn, race 6, is there anything in race 3, 4, 5 that we've been following from the trials that stand out? Anything worth mentioning?
There's absolutely heaps. The guys who watch our show, guys and girls who watch our show, would have black books bulging coming into Saturday here. Let's have a look at race 3 just quickly.
Holy Man's?
Holy Man's is okay, needs the blinkers, but there's a couple others here. Climbing Star, flying for Philip Stokes. Not sure Caulfield's going to suit, but certainly been working up well. And Calico Jack's another that's been trialling well, scratched from that wide gate. We tipped it last week at Moonee Valley, and they scratched it from the wide gate. So drawn awkward again, but we're just going to give it a run and see how it goes. Not a great first up performer, but has been jumping out super. Race 4, we're going to go through this one quickly. Bound for Home, looks like it's back to its best form, but does have the synthetic hoof filler on. There was another one here, Marble Arch, has been jumping out well.
I was going to ask you about Marble Arch. I haven't done this race, but she's a horse that I've got a lot of time for. Won that sports bet series, Pakenham, in incredible fashion, beating Helix, I think it was there, and it was okay. Probably came to the end of it in the Bendigo Guineas. I thought she'd come out and win that. And then Wave Rider Boy got good Sydney form. I'm giving Petulant a chance. Wave Rider Boy's got to be right in the mix if here. So a couple there from race 4. Race 5, Devoted's first up, Amenable. Ain't No Deal Done, Real Sensation, Carini. There's plenty of horses first up. Any steering into here?
There is, yeah. There's 2 horses. Amenable has been jumping out very well at Caulfield and looks ready to go first up. I don't think they'll try it over the middle distances this prep. I think they'll keep it to the shorter runs. And Dubai Poet comes over from England and has been pretty sharp in a couple of trials. It's looked good. So it's going to be about $10. It's certainly worth a hope. We'll get to race 6, Tom.
Yeah, race 6. So I'm very interested in Bandersnatch. I wasn't wrapped with the barrier trial. I went looking at all the jump out. I wanted to see more from Bandersnatch in the orange along the inside there. I thought it was a little bit lackluster late, but Thunder Beauty's been interesting. But I think Bandersnatch has got the best form in the race. His last start stands out incredibly well behind Giga Kick and Zaki in a Group 1 all-aged. But I just want to see a bit more from his trial, but I think he can win. Thunder Beauty's a fascinating horse over from Ireland that's jumped out and found the line okay, Glenn.
Yeah, certainly. We've been talking about that horse quite a bit. It's had a couple of good jump outs, one on the synthetic and one on the turf. So it's going well. So is Detonator Jack, looked pretty forward in a recent trial. So a couple there. We'll get to...
I didn't love the trial of Savannah Cloud. I just thought it was only plain late there. So interesting race. I've got 1 from 4 there, probably steering into those 2. Bandersnatch and Thunder Beauty. Race 7, the Quezette Stakes. Plenty of horses first up. Just from a Sydney perspective, Komochi's a nice horse. Sicilian's up and rolling, but there's a lot of speed in this race, Glenn.
No, there is. It's going to be a stack, obviously, led by Tiz Queen, the last start winner. Gee, didn't she love Moody Valley? She found the front there. Found the travel later, but away she went. I didn't think her trials were all that good, but I'll tell you, two horses that have trialled up well. Number one, Ulanova, who looked pretty good up in a straight line at Flemington last week, jumped out well at Caulfield, so it's had a side here already. It's going to be on the pace. Barrier 3, McD, and Charm Stone, one that you're pretty taken with as well.
Yeah, well, just made I'm Stoppable look a bit lackluster there in that trial, Charmstone. Tongue tie goes on Charmstone, Glenn, and I love it. Just can camp off the speed. I think Charmstone's a really nice horse. I think you can see the best of her. She'll camp off the speed. I've got her winning. I loved her trial leading in, but I think she'll appreciate the fast tempo there. So I've got her on top.
She will appreciate the fast tempo, definitely. Damien Lane as well. Go to have a look at race 8.
Yeah, race 8. You're keen on Cylinder here, which is interesting for mine. I thought Cylinder was short enough, but trial was exceptional.
Yeah, I think it looks a little bit sharper than Little Bros, Tom. I think Little Bros might get out to a mile this prep. It's had 2 jump outs at Fleming. It's been up against older horses and doing really well, so you can't knock it from that perspective. And looked pretty good in a straight line at Flemington recently, so I wonder if they can find a race up the straight for it. But yeah, I think it might get out to a mile. Cylinder looks real sharp, doesn't it? Those trials in Sydney, very impressive. So I'm keen to be with Cylinder, Tom.
Just drawn a little awkwardly, Glenn. Outside, I'm worried they could probably settle. Blake Shin could probably settle 3 deep. Track should play fairly with not a lot of wind around the Caulfield, but I wonder if they play jockeys. Now, drawn directly outside Little Bros, who's probably the main danger on paper. Does Blake Shin try and keep Little Bros in a pocket there and ride outside? Does he go back to last and creep around him? Tactically, it's going to be a fascinating little race from barrier 7. Really interesting. You've got a couple of horses. She Lights jumped out quite well. I'm Stoppable, you mentioned. It's a really good race.
Very good race. Yeah, I can't imagine them wanting to toast Little Bros first up, Tom. So I would think that if there's going to be any tactics, any gamesmanship, it'll come from Cylinder, like Shin.
Yeah, from outside.
It looks like the horse that's ready to win.
There you go. Race 8, number 2 there, Cylinder. Race 9, Glenn, the feature, the PB Lawrence. You're the favourite here. You think he'll just win, Mr. Brightside, do you?
I think so, yeah. It's going to get off the speed, but there's a heap of pace on here, Tom. Where are we looking?
Deny Knowledge, you're hearing, might run in the PB Lawrence, gets a start. I'd rather see Deny Knowledge, but that adds, in the latter race, but that adds a bit of speed. You've got Buffalo River, who draws barrier 1, Buffalo River, so if it's just away okay, we'll have to be ridden urgently to hold out the front. Then you've got Tuvalu coming from across wide. You've got Deny Knowledge, Edison. They look the speed factors, so the fact that
they're going to get hard.
The fact that Buffalo River's drawn 1 does add a lot of speed in. So speed from outside and inside. You think
Tuvalu coming across from 16?
Yeah, you think the race will just set up for Mr. Brightside?
I think so. Yeah, it's generally the horse is probably better after a run, isn't it? Mr.
He won this race last year.
Which hung tough there, and it was probably a better race. I thought last year.
Yeah, potentially. It's one of those races where it's again another lead-up race, and I wouldn't be surprised if Deny Knowledge runs a good race here at a big price, just up on speed with a bit of intent. But Mr. Brightside, that jump out recently looks to be flying this campaign.
Yeah. Just some key info too. Tuvalu was incorrectly named in a jump out recently at Casterton. It was actually the winner.
Yeah.
So I think it beat Mizzo's a 70 or 80, but yeah, interesting. Anyway, it was named as finishing 4th or 5th, but it was the winner in the black jacket.
There you go. So Mr. Brightside looks up and rolling early. It's really interesting tactics because given a lot of intent from that barrier trial, extended nicely, opened up a big margin, but it's a long spring. There's a $3 million race at the end of the Flemington Carnival that he'd want to be contesting, so he's going to be up for a while.
He's a pretty good horse, though. They can space his runs, can't they? They just keep him fresh. They got the Lindsay Park there, so yeah. No, it's a good point you make.
And I was hoping that Deny Knowledge runs in race 10 because I think Deny Knowledge, she's a nice horse that has intent here, can roll forward and prove hard to beat. I like the jump out. So if Deny Knowledge goes around in the 10th, I'll be having something on. Glenn, now.
Absolutely.
Taree Friday. Bob's last one, race 1, number 12, trialled, home track. Goes all right, about that $4.60 mark. Awful race, doesn't need to be that good to win, and I like that trial home track debut. I think can kick us off on Friday there, race 1, number 12, Bob's last one.
Bob's last one, right, good. All right, we'll jump on that. Thanks, Tommy.
Been a pleasure, mate. So much to cover. It'll be our longest show for the year, no doubt. I'm away for 3 shows at least, maybe 4. So we'll be still doing tips. I'm off to Europe. So wish me luck.
And I'll just be talking to the wall, and we'll have the camera rolling and see how we go.
There's no chance you know how to set that up. We'll see how we go. There'll still be plenty of content. I'll still be doing the trials and the form over there. So still stay tuned to www.thetrialfiles.com.au. Thanks for joining me, mate.
Thanks, Tom.